We have Black Love, Trans Voices. We have art openings, so please come back and enjoy our events. The bathrooms are that way to the left. Please silence your cell phones. And yeah, it's time to rock it out with Foglifter. I know you're all gonna not leave without buying our journal because they're brand new and they're pretty. Woo! And Maya in the back is selling them, so please don't let them be lonely. Yes. And yeah, also, y'all know people with money. I know people with money. They sometimes don't like to hang out with me because I'm like, you're gonna buy this, you're gonna donate here. So y'all are gonna tell your rich friends to buy the latest copy of Foglifter. All right, please give it up for Misha.
Thank you so much, Baruch, and thank you so much for Strut for always hosting us. It's so wonderful to be back. Hello, you fabulous folks. Welcome to Foglifter's 8.1 issue launch. My name is Nisha. I am Foglifter's community manager. I use she/her pronouns, and I'm so happy to be here tonight. We want to mention that we have an amazing ASL interpreter here, Reed. Let's give it up for Reed. So please stay quiet during the reading, so their job is as easy as possible. But do cheer extra hard in between each of our readers. If this is your first time to Foglifter, welcome. We are a biannual journal of today's most dynamic, urgent, and delightful queer and trans writing. We're a space where LGBTQIA+ writers celebrate, mourn, rage, and embrace. We also publish some incredible writers, some of whom we will hear tonight. And we are so excited to be celebrating our newest issue with you all. And also, if you're a queer trans poet or writer, we have good news. There are multiple ways you can be part of Foglifter. We're open for submissions until May 1st, so please send us your writing. And we want you to be part of this. This is just such an incredible place to be part of, especially right now. So please send us your work. It would be awesome if you could take a minute to fill out an audience survey. That's how we will know that we're doing the best possible job to serve you, our community, and we'll pass that out at the end of the event. Enough with formalities, let's party. So I'm excited to begin introducing the fabulous and talented contributors to this issue. First up, I'm happy to introduce Griffin Jane Martin. Griffin is a San Francisco-based interdisciplinary artist. Griffin's works finds form through connection with community, reverence for the collective, and the belief that every trans person is precious and completely necessary. Griffin's work shares their trans feminine Asian American perspective on togetherness and a singular identity in all of their whimsical, prismatic complications. Griffin's poetry can be found in Vienna, Mixed Race, Zines, The Boken Magazine, and Sun Data Bag. And also, they just defended their MFA thesis. So let's give them a huge
So the piece that I have run in Foglifter this issue is called 80085, or Oops. And that is part of an interwoven conversation that is quite long, and I've chosen an excerpt to read for you all today. And the only thing you need to know about this poem, the context, is that it takes place between three characters. Those are three stages of a very, very classic and stereotypical urban poem. 1, the caterpillar. 2, the chrysalis. And 3, the butterfly. One, I make fast friends with people who agree it's all shit and we're tired of eating it. But here's what I bring to the table. See, there's other angles in and out of this prison. Like one where instead of tasting shit with our lips, we smash it open with our tongues, like a watermelon bursting. Like a watermelon bursting with belly, spilling over with summertime, a fresh bowl of black soup and childbirth. The smell of ginger and eggs hangs in the air, so I guess they'll write this off as a food movie. guess I'd like to be clear in translation. Food poetry, in a cultural sense, is about more than culture and food. It's our relationship to it, a stand-in for the words we get stuck in our gut when we get to feeling unpalatable to the room of people who say they don't want to eat us, who won't eat us, because we aren't food. So we lie supine, unsexily, like an oily placemat on an otherwise finely starched tablecloth. It's when you realize you were only there to protect their linens in the first place, that your proximity to food and the clatter of silverware tricked you, bamboozled you into thinking you were more than a sheet of paper, that you have feelings, that anything you've experienced has happened. This is the challenge of widening, and the possibility of women holding hands around a wooden bowl of black soup. It's good for you. It will replenish what the baby took from you, what you gave willingly, but now must live without. The beauty of medicine is it doesn't care if you wrinkle your nose as you drink it. It only wants to heal you. Will you take it? The syrupy darkness that came from another. 2. I'm looking behind every curtain these days. Even angry music fails to convince me that it's really haunted. What do ghosts even look like? There are bloody tweezers in your hands. You tried too hard and failed yet again to accept the fact that there are pimples within you, baby. And there's nothing you can do. You're just a host, a landscape, or a bird trapped in the curtains. 3. As mapless as it were, my brain is guided by other things, so no, I didn't wait for a special day. It wasn't a holiday, or my birthday, not a solstice or the first of spring. It wasn't even a full moon, just a random day in a Starbucks when I decided it was time to start living again. So like an adult, I sent an email on the spot, like a rolling office chair or a bar of soap wood to a doctor and asked for it, for estrogen. 2. I don't remember what my mind or muscles felt. I see only seams flickering behind my eyelids, 2 black buttons blazing as Mulan props my body to rest against snow, and the sword slotted firmly between then and now. I see scorched ice, an active battlefield, and standing ruins of civilization, the surviving framework of it all. But most importantly, my soft body is resting, and I know this is right. I never wanted to fight. I'm just a doll in a room. 1. Is anyone else afraid? It's irrational, I know, but I'm really scared of touching water and finding out I'm made of a lapis, that bluest irony, to identify with an element, to trust it, and dissolve in the middle. 2. I feel reality fold my breasts like a paper bag containing prescription drugs and perhaps the only resolution to my problem. Don't take it from me. I've been carved smooth and scattered like dust in the wind. What's left is a shell filled with songs and a tinfoil voice that wails, take me with you. Somehow, my chest knows I was made for this. 3. It's impossible to restore an object to its unbroken state. And it's particularly hard to graft extensions of things onto things that were never there. We're just children of our parents, after all. The stories we know are just minor links in a tessellating chain that binds us. In other words, some things are useless to try or fix. Is it better then to give up? What I do is melt my love foghorns I hear at night that don't keep me up but find their way to my dreams. Like a fig wasp who crawled into a peach by mistake, dying there, having never produced a fig. Never mind her. It's not fair to hold me to the same standard, meaning I couldn't do what she does if I tried. That my corpse would not result in fig fertilization, that even if I died at the right place, at the right time, I will always be wrong for that. The wasp looks up from her notepad and smiles. Tells me that must be tough. This has been my experience with talk therapy because the industry of mental health is crawling with them. With wasps that rub their fingers as they pretend to study your face, ask thoughtful questions like, are you a boy or a girl? And I know it's not all wasps, I'm sure some are lovely, but I've never met a wasp I could touch. I do feel bad peeling the skin off the metaphor like the lips off of teeth and mouth tearing through a warm, soft peach, so I won't. I'll include a pocket in the flaps of my language instead, so you can hide and come along for the ride. And I hope the ride changes too. I hope the wasp in my pocket is brave. What a word. What a word. What a brave new world for such a small insect.
Followed by Allison Fubar, both of whom are reading to us virtually this evening. Eric Francis is a queer, Black, and Latinx poet based in Denver, Colorado. Francis is the author of 2 poetry chapbooks, Miseducation, winner of the 2022 U Delta Review chapbook, as well as Body Electric. They have received poetry fellowships from support from Campimundo and the Watering Hole. They are also a poetry reader for Underblog Poetry Journal and a coordinator with Slam Nuba. Their work may be found on their website, phantompoet.com. And I'll also introduce Allison Weber while I'm up here. Allison Nubar teaches high school English by day and yoga by night. They are a queer, non-binary, mixed-race femme whose life work, aside from word spinning, has evolved into bringing mindfulness practices and sometimes even poetry to young people. Great. Their work has been nominated for both the Pushcart and Best of the Net, and they're author of 4 chapbooks. Philosophers Know Nothing About Love, Queer Feast, Sweet Euphemism, and Its Gifts a Generation. You can find out more on AllisonWeber.com. Thank you.
Hi, what's up, y'all? So my name is Eric Francis. I'm a poet based on Ute Cheyenne Arapaho lands, also known as Denver, Colorado. I'm really honored and grateful to be with you virtually tonight and to be included in the upcoming Foglifter issue. So all of my gratitude to the Foglifter team. Thank you all so much for having me. Special thank you to Dior and MJ. Thank you all. And just generally, and you watching, being here right now, thanks for exchanging energy and being here with me and us right now. Okay, so I want to share 3 poems with you all from my poetry manuscript called Body Politic. The second poem is called Body Language, and that's the one that's included in the upcoming Foglifter issue. The first poem is called Citizen. You can find it at the Rumpus, included in their National Poetry Month selection. And then the third poem is called The Limits of Language, and you can find that one published online at The Nation. And also everything can be found on my website. So if you're interested in my website or social media, you can find me at Phantom Poet. Everything is Phantom Poet, phantompoet.com, at Phantom Poet, and it's spelled with an A-E, because it's like my name, A-E-R-K, Eric. P-H-A-E-N-T-O-M-P-O-E-T. Everywhere. So yeah, thanks again. Super grateful for this opportunity of being here. Let's get into it. So yeah, this first poem is called Citizen. body be long, be long, body be oblong, be long, body be wrong, be long, body be prong, be long, body be throng, be long, body bell, bell, body be song, be long, body be go, long, body beyond, be long, body be bell, be longing, body be belly, be longing, body be bellow, be longing, body bellow, bellow, longing, body be low, low, body be low, below, low, body be low, oh, body, low, body, body, low, low, body language. Not metonymy for black or dead, no synecdoche for human or trauma, no more metaphor for corpse, not an allegory, neither God nor government, not dialectic, neither thesis nor anti, neither illusion nor illusion, not a character, neither foil nor protagonist, certainly not antagonist, lacks a plot, denied, a vivid set, contains no narrative, not lyric nor harmonic, no rhyme nor reason, nor measure nor meter to keep the score, not a paragraph, not to be sentenced or spelled, no grammar nor syntax, not to be read, not literary device nor inherently divisive. There is no more irony in the ubiquity of body, things, sentient or not. When I say body, I mean failure to specify. I mean everything unique, nothing tangible. When I say body, it is different every time. Living, shifting, dying, body, is person. Unless it is bullshit, unless it is an animal, unless they are mycelium, unless it is another kingdom of species, never a simile, is not like any other body. Nothing is like a body except body. Body. I need my own morphing wonder. I mean, there is always more to be body. Limited language. It was something about the bounce in my step, something about the rippling jiggle of my belly and breast, something about periwinkle painted pinkies, purple pointers, the shipping its own kind of fashion, something about the bend, the raised about flip, something about the way it shares the blunt, something about past, about the difficulty of altitudes and maybe less how and why, more when and where, all of the comings in and out, something about pride with a sibling fear of my own body, someone checking the clock, how sentient shivers, something about my sentient shivering everything, about how I'm too sensitive, sometimes too sensual, something suspect and censured, something to do with attunement, with pulses in the blood, something about water, something misguided, something more like golden bees in their buzzing geographies, the gut brain in the hive mind, something closer to how land shifts and how water waves. Something like the supple becoming of flora and fungi, then of drifting pollen, yeah, reaching closer. Something in how men reach, how the nails reach in that reach like camera eyes. Oh, single tape. Thank y'all, everyone.
Foglifter, hello, SF audience. I wish I could be there. Unfortunately, I am East Coast stuck. I live in East Philadelphia, or known as New Jersey. Thank you so much to Foglifter for accepting my film Practical Magic. Thank you to MJ for inviting me to virtually read to you. So I have about 7 poems. They're pretty short. You're welcome to skip ahead. I'll let the MCs be in charge of that. But the first piece that I'm going to start out with is Practical Magic. And this was the piece accepted by Foglifter, and it takes place in Tule Lake Relocation Center, 1945. My mother's father's side of the family were incarcerated in Tule Lake, so that's where this takes place. It's called Practical Magic. We pass the golden eagle statue back and forth, then hold it between us. I am 13, which must be lucky, since everything they tell us is a lie. My mother takes the cooking pot, drops in 1 grain for every month we've been here. 41. Without rinsing, the water clouds as starch and asbestos swirl. We shred 1 page from the dropped library book. No blood from the student who was shot. On each slip or square, we write a name or place, like 20 questions. Animal, air, vegetable, strawberry, mineral, iron barbed wire. We boil it to paste, then paint the bottom jams with sticky translucence. It shines pearlescent. During every war, they bring food to the Oni Baba on the outskirts, even the rude children, even the dogs, even all of the women left behind. My second piece is from my first chapbook, which is Philosophers Know Nothing About Love, and it is called A Prize for the Gladiator in the Midst of an Earthquake. Seismic moments shift the soul's tectonics. I'll never see them again like this. Regarding Heraclitus, you can't ascend the same staircase twice, but really, what does any philosopher know about love? Plated oysters are still alive, split by teeth, gnawed to pulp or swallowed half whole, like the loser's heart at the Colosseum. Even the pearl, rolled once in a palm, is never the same. I'm going to read one more piece from that collection, and it's called Philosophers Know Nothing About Love, and it takes elements of Plato's allegory of the cave and uses them as a frame for the ascension and descent of a love affair, or the hero's journey. They're the same. This is called Love Downhill. It took Sisyphus more time to roll his rock than for me to lose all sense of self and look for it in you. And at the top, that ancient Greek martyr and I both let go, felt freedom in the descent. All those days of anticipation gone in one sidestep and precipitous slope. The curse is to push onwards and up, blinded by the beloved only beholding a stony sight and unperturbed itself. Eternity shrinks you to a pebble. Unwind flinty chips with every rotation, your gravity pulling me upward toward the high of the fall. Time grinds all love to our three initials, carves these in something just as cold and immovable, and stops once and for all. It finally rests. The ascension polishes every pit to reflect your own face. I hope that this will be the last time this burden calluses your fine philosopher's hand. In a little bit of a gear shift, I mean non-binary, but you know. This next piece has its first line as the title, and the title is "You Can't Say Oriental" in quotation marks. You can't say Oriental because it's offensive. My blue-eyed friend sneers, smiles at superiority in knowledge, fairness, and freckles. My mother says her hair is mousy. My mother is not a rug. She has used this word for 40 years, feels its reclaimed East Asian kinship. This word is hers, it is mine. She taught me to, one, find, establish, feel one's bearings. As other, as not them, unbelong at the lunchbox cracked open. 4th grade culture day potluck leaves yakitori untouched. I throw it out of blue Tupperware into the bushes. Local wildlife doesn't discriminate and relay its evaporation with delight. They loved it. 2. Adapt, accommodate, acclimatize, attune. I learned to accommodate questions until I'm 30. I acclimatize to exotic, attune to scrutiny. I do mind you asking. I do not exist to satiate curiosity, this unease, others. You, I sniff it in like sweet gasoline. I will respond with fire. Like her, I am crowned with midnight river hair so long it tucks into our jeans. We belong everywhere. 3. Aim, steer, design, intend. Toward mysterious as a hand I hold to chest or a ship adrift. I outmaneuver and drop into conversation. My auntie, the camps, Godzilla, what's of my people? Use chopsticks for popcorn, cheese crackers, anything oily. Scoff at weight control advice. They'll help you eat slower, unless you've always used them. She still keeps my pink plastic baby ones with birds, little finger loops for a toddler. 4. Align, place, position, set. My mother has direction. I fix my sight where the sun rises, eastward. She warms me, face first. Right, I have 2 more for you. One is, they're both love poems in a way. This is a love poem to all my other mixed race folks and to anyone who has been called other or other. It's called To Another Girl Named Other. They can't figure out how to make fun of you, so they fall in love. You are a scatterplot, no primary color, no neat column of statistics. This combination leaves you alien and otherworldly like the gods, face of all humanity, because they all see themselves reflected in you, but not enough to feel like you're one. And my last piece takes a very sapphic turn. It is from Aries. And you can find links to these. Hopefully I'll be able to put a little QR code at the end of this video, but if not, that's fine. This is called This Is Not Just About Blooming Flowers, and title, first line, same deal. This is not just about blooming flowers or tender stars. First snow, unbrushed velvet fresh from cellophane and crinkled tissue paper, leavened breath, the first ocean panorama after winter, the first waves pulled landward, down pillow burst into flurry, worn to hot, like Zion's narrows, bared souls on midday sand, macerated serrano chilies in a cocktail, rosy heat, like holding honey from inside, the comb buzz alive, hive throbs and spills infinite, like castless wine, boundless, expansive as sky, the violet horizon, magenta dust spreads across the singular neon glow of sun, button to undo and redo and undo and redo, slip out of stitched eyelet loop, and then it's all titration of nitroglycerin into the bloodstream, drips toward explosion like fuchsia, orchid, bloom, lotus burst to all celestial creation, like that, like those kinds of flowers, this type of star. Once again, you can imagine what it sounds like. Love you all.
Let's give another round of applause for all of our commentators. Alrighty, next, I'm really thrilled to introduce Eric Jonah. Eric Jonah has published in 5 Points, Ecotone, The Hopkins Review, and elsewhere. A graduate of the MFA program at the University of Oregon, they were recently awarded a residency at the Mineral School in Washington.
Ooh.
A non-binary artist, Erica has been teaching for over 20 years, working with young people in the Bronx, in Ohio, and a school for runaway and homeless youth in Eugene, Oregon. So welcome, Eric.
Hello. Wow, there's a bright light on me, which hopefully will.
There's an option if you want, I can drag the podium for you in the corner.
Oh no, it's fine. I'll be
Sure,
sure.
because we can turn it off, otherwise everything turns off.
You are good. Yeah, I've been a high school teacher for a long time, working with a lot of different types of youth who are artsy or queer or a little messed up, which is kind of like me. I've been at a lot of different schools. Recently, I've been working mostly with runaway and homeless youth is the term. And so it's a diverse group of kids. They may be couch surfing or sleeping in a shelter. We have street kids who are sleeping outside, under bridges, young moms who just got into a housing program, some travelers, so an interesting mix at my school. So these poems, I'm going to read 3 short poems, and they all take place at the school. They're part of a sequence. And you can imagine a very small school. There's just 2 of us teachers. It's kind of in a sort of shitty nonprofit, like really a real dump. You can imagine it's not beautiful like this place and a lot of some of them. And this first poem takes place at breakfast, and I'm kind of checking in the students' weapons, making them back at the end of the day, cleaning up, making coffee, watering plants, that kind of thing. So it's sort of stream of consciousness. Breakfast at the school for runaways. Every morning, I put on my sad, gay shoes. Tuesday, blackberry smoothies. Angel has pink pepper spray, but Maddie doesn't bother. My body is a weapon. I wonder if the world needs me. The small seedlings near the window, the coffee cup on the concrete stoop. It must be carried, yes. It must be buried in the earth forever. I've been thinking about superheroes, some kind of fucked up Justice League. Our flag is rainbow, and Desi swears so much, it's like they have a special power. When I ask, they tell me, smoke and crack. But if our powers were combined, if I divide the rain by 0, the traffic out front grows fast, big trucks from right to left, which is backwards. Syringes, leaves, the squirrel comes back to life. When I say our lives are fucked up, my students team against me. It's the world that's fucked up, Eric. My bad. We're out of sour bright gummy worms, and when I turn off the blender, I hear the cough of someone throwing up their candy. They're little prose poems. They're like a little brick. One of my workshop friends said it's like a little block of chaos. Because it looks so organized, and then it's really not. In the next poem, one of the characters from the first poem shows up. So, these are, of course, fictionalized, names changed, details changed, and they actually span, the conceit is that it's all at the School for Runaways, but really this spans my whole career of teaching, and some of it's even autobiographical. Some of the students are me. I did want to mention one last thing, which is that I try not in this sequence to learn any life lessons. I think that's like a bad trope that we've inherited, and so this is at lunchtime. I really enjoy serving food to students and not just like teaching math or GED. It's called Not a Lunch Lady. It should be enchilada day, but 2 kids OD'd over the weekend. Thursday's burgers resurrected. Man, what the fuck food is this? Hey man, I'm not a man. But Avon is. Desi is Avon now. Still curses like a sailor. Do I even know any sailors? Oh, for Christ's sakes, Boots, don't touch all of the scissors. Fine. Just put them in the basket to be sanitized. Avon is down for a smoothie always. Gives me shit for speaking in spinach. Kids can't not touch the world. They put little boys in sailor suits, leave baby girls on the curb by the church. 2020 though, a plastic hairnet on the cafeteria of life. I'm not a lunch lady, Avon, I'm a lunch dad. There's this one student who likes to slap the sign above the door, you matter. High five or middle finger? Maybe touching the hem of my garment? Down the block, an older youth is sifting fentanyl into some pills he'll sell as Molly. Sure hope I taught him fractions. They always do this. They're always doing this kind of shit. You can't just leave the world alone. Whew. Sorry. It's me too sometimes. Hey, thank you. I wanted to say also, really thank you to Foglifter, to Louisa, to everyone. This is like super meaningful for me. There's like very few times in my life where I get to connect like teaching, runaways, poetry, like queer and non-binary identity, even math. There's a little bit of math. These things, dividing the rain by 0. So the first one is the one that's coming out in Foglifter. This last one is coming out in the Adroit Journal. So that's really cool. It means a lot to have, which used to be in San Francisco. So. In this last poem, the character of Angel, who had the pink pepper spray in the beginning, sort of reappears. It's the end of the day. The school is dark. And I wasn't sure if I finished closing the front door or not. Like I turned off the lights, but I wasn't sure I locked up. You ever do that? It's called After Hours. School's darkness is a darkness that I know. Hand feeling plaster from the toilet to the door. Fuck, I did lock up already. There's an ankle in the streetlight. Some older kid who's sleeping on the stoop. White sock I gave him? In the classroom, dust, worksheets, lumps of clay. Angel's mask is almost dry. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. Black eye makeup, black heavy metal shirt, bone portraiture, moody angel. Blue smell, I want to sniff again, like chlorine bleach. A hot smell from the copier, though I'm not tall or dark or beautiful. Oh, angel. There are places I abandoned that are glad that I abandoned them. When I lift up the white mask, his contours fit mine, bone to skin. Oh, teacher pale, oh, moon, oh, clock and chalk and windows. Tonight I wear your face, my own, a little while.
Next up, I'm introducing another one of our virtual readers, Noam Pine. Noam is a trauma worker, medicine maker, and learner currently based on stolen Lenape land known as Philadelphia. They are a Lambda Literary 22 Fellow, a Roots Words 23 Fellow, a Tin House 23 Fellow, and a Paraplus 23 Fellow mentored by Grace Thompson. Their debut essay collection, The Land is Holy, is the winner of the Megaphone Prize 2022, judged by Hanan Abdur-Rakib, and is expected to be published by Radix Media in 2024. Connect with them on The Land is Holy on Twitter, Instagram, and thelandisholy.com. Please help me to welcome Noam Pine.
Woo!
Let's welcome our final in-person reader, and also let's give another round of applause to Strut for okay, so our next reader is Jennifer Nguyen. Jennifer Nguyen is a queer Vietnamese American emerging writer currently based in Oakland, California. She primarily writes short and long-form creative nonfiction. Thus far, her work has appeared in small presses such as the Ponder Review and won the American Fiction Award from New Rivers Press.
Ooh.
She is also a humorous writer who spices essays with just and hand-drawn graphics. Please give a warm welcome to Jennifer.
Thank you. Hi everyone, can you hear me? Hi, I'm Jen. I am a queer Vietnamese American writer. I'm based in Oakland, but I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and I wanted to thank Foglifter because they decided to publish my 7,000 word, 30-page creative nonfiction essay, and they did not tell me to cut it down. It's pretty incredible. You will not have to hear all 30 pages of this. I'm only going to do the first section. But before I start, just a little bit of context. I write primarily about my experiences as the daughter of Vietnamese refugees. And a lot of my writing is a parallel experience between my identity as a queer woman and what my parents had to go through as Vietnamese refugees. Very similar experiences, in my opinion, living a dual life, really trying to create a sense of place and home, and then always trying to accommodate for the systems that consistently fail them. And so a lot of my writing is a reflection of those themes. The piece I'm going to read to you today is called A $5 Refugee Story. And it's basically about the way that intergenerational trauma impacts storytelling. So again, just the first 6 pages. I promise it won't be too long. So I'll just begin. In college, I was invited to a dinner at the exclusive DC dining establishment 1789. Short of money and deficient in nutrients from my budget diet of bagels and tortellini, I agreed to attend on behalf of my scholarship program. I was to be on my least poor behavior in proximity to wealthy donors. I can't remember what I wore, but I definitely ironed it. As the name implies, 1789 is a historic restaurant located 1 block away from the Georgetown University campus. The facade is a classic Federal House architecture, a boxy row house with 2 ornate light fixtures and covered windows that obscured the dealings of its political clientele. Along with hunger, curiosity compelled me to attend the event. Next door to 1789 was a raucous college bar that I went to all the time called the Tombs, where I consumed an entire pitcher of Blue Moon and hate danced to Come On Eileen every single night. I would often think, they can't be doing the same shit next door. As I found out, they weren't doing the same shit next door. The 1789 dining room is an intimate composition of white cloth tables and a large, luminous hearth. At dinner, I was seated at a long rectangular table, each chair placed before a neat layout of forks, knives, and a confounding number of plates. An elegantly printed menu on cardstock indicated that we would be fed by the course, starting with a salad, followed by a main, and punctuated by a dessert. It was a scene both familiar and foreign, a Thanksgiving still and a holiday shenanigans movie that I'd watched many times before, but now I was a character. By design, each poor kid was sandwiched between 2 middle-aged adults, adorned in standard attire that signaled casual Georgetown importance, sweaters draped around shoulders, or strings of pearls covering necks. My guy to my left was sweater-draped, friendly, and portly. He belonged to the scene, looking like a typical mid-Atlantic prep school kid, except 50 pounds heavier and 30 years more tired. After brief introductions, he quickly maneuvered the conversation to further describe himself by talking about how he got rich. I bought up towers. It was a great investment when cell phones became popular, he said. So you sell towers to cell phone companies? I asked, attempting to lengthen the conversation to the court while trying to sound not stupid. I didn't care about the towers, but I had been taught to fear silence and to bring the conversation by filling verbal spaces. No, I leased the space, so they use the sections of the towers for cellular communications, he said. As the daughter of refugees, I didn't understand the concept of leasing. You either have something or you don't. You owned it or someone took it away. This series of thoughts felt more like a Tombs topic than a 1789 discussion, so I settled for my typical let's move on response. That's really interesting. Perhaps not knowing what else to say about his tower leasing scheme to someone in their early 20s, he pivoted exactly where I thought he would go. What about you? Where are you from? From the scholarship program, I had been trained to have an elevator pitch for my identity, which I practiced to overcome my instinct to minimize. I delivered it with a blend of pride and guilt. Talk about difficult circumstances, but be hopeful. Don't be afraid of talking truthfully about your lived experiences, but avoid poverty-born descriptions. Above all, be yourself and never forget to talk about how transformational the Georgetown experiences have been. Like a well-trained prep school dog, I went into my Pavlovian scholarship student response. I'm from Houston. I went to a very large public high school of 5,000 people where there were 50 kids in a classroom. I chose Georgetown because of the scholarship. Without the scholarship, I would be at a local school not exploring as much. I'm an English major, which confuses my parents because they already think I speak English. They're both Vietnamese refugees. When I introduce myself as the daughter of 2 Vietnamese refugees, I often receive a look of curious sorrow that halts the remainder of the introduction. Friendly, portly cell phone tower guy was no different. Wow, that must have been really hard for your parents, he said. I imagine the word refugee conjures images of emaciation, desperation, and despair. The young, tearful Ukrainian mother dressed in several layers, nudging her 2 children across the Polish border. The family of Afghans carrying their most valuable belongings in a stuffed rolling suitcase at the Kabul airport. The desperate climb of Vietnamese people up a staircase, pushing their way into the last helicopter from the American embassy in Saigon. All of them carrying both a little and a lot, pieces of paper confirming their identities. their favorite articles of clothing, items that will remind them of the home that they are escaping and will never return. I don't purposely intend to solicit the "you poor things" or "that must have been hards." That my parents are Vietnamese refugees is a standard detail in my autopilot response to the command of "tell me about yourself." It's the life I live, the air I breathe, the water I swim in. It just is. I don't want your sympathy, I want to tell people. I'm here for the free food, and the scholarship money, and maybe a job. With little life experience related to cell tower policing, I put it into the narrative. It's a pattern that would repeat in interviews, at receptions, and among the people who have something that I need. On a good day, I'll willingly play up the story to progress the conversation for as many minutes and opportunities as I can get. On a bad day, the look makes me wonder if I have a story worth telling. The scholarship program trained me to only have good days. My mother had to flee from Da Nang in 1978 by boat, I offered, hoping to grasp on for a few more exchanges. He replied, "Wow, I remember how terrible that war was." Then, he unsurprisingly started talking about his family members who were sent to Vietnam. He too was fighting for airtime. I did not desire the prize of future conversations on cell phone tower leasing, so I sat quietly, nodding along, waiting for dessert. Thank you all so much.
Hi, my name is Noam Kai. I use they, them pronouns. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, albeit virtually. I currently live on stolen Lenape land and known as Philadelphia, so I couldn't quite make it to the West Coast. But please know that I will be experiencing deep FOMO as you all be with each other. I'm really grateful for a space like Foglifter and for all the people who have worked really hard to make this issue happen. Special shout out to my friend Taid, who convinced me to submit this piece, which I thought was a little too daring for a lot of places, and I'm really glad that it found its place here. I'm going to be reading that piece called Fruits of the Desert. It's going to be part of my larger collection of essays called The Land is Holy, that will be coming out with Radix Media in the summer of 2024. A few things before I start the reading. Visual description: I'm an era person with dark, long, curly hair. I'm wearing a blue shirt with big cartoon cats, white cartoon cats on it. My background is yellow walls, and then I have a little medicine shelf with like dropper bottles on it. A content note: this piece specifically discusses the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. It's not graphic, but it does like describe the ideas of Zionism and the colonization of Palestine. So just a heads up if you want to take a step away as I read that. But again, thanks for having me, and this is Fruits of the Desert. A decade ago, on my way to the food co-op in Ann Arbor, I played the game I've played my whole life, where a stranger asks me what I am, and I let them guess my ethnicity. Depending on the country I'm in and the way I'm dressed, people assume that I'm Colombian, Punjabi, Syrian, Turkish. I'm believed to be something, so they guess. I often wonder if they see the edges of Morocco in the shape of my eyes and the many colonizations that have raised me. How could they guess that I'm a Jewish Arab born a settler to Palestine? This man, leaning against the front door of the store I was trying to enter, was somewhat better than most. He called me a sabha, a term I had never used to describe myself, yet so fitting for the circumstances of my birth. Sabha, a term invented by the Zionist Project to describe Jewish people born in occupied Palestine. Sabha, the Hebrew word for my favorite fruit. Sabha, a move to create a nationalist identity from scratch, a way of uniting vastly different diasporic identities into one rooted in a plant abundant in the deserts of Palestine. In English, sabra is the prickly pear, the fruit of a cactus. A marvel, really, that such sweetness can grow in the desert. Out of the thorns of one of nature's most resilient plants, oblong fruits grow in a myriad of warm colors. Red, yellow, orange, pink, little color-packed miracles that defy our understanding of ecology. Each fruit covered in thorns so thin they're almost invisible to the human eye. Calling the settlers of Palestine Sabra is supposed to be a clever metaphor. Jews born within the Zionist project have tough exteriors and sweet insides, just like the cactus fruit. It is a thin thread to connect a nation around, but what histories of colonialism have shown us is that it's enough to create new shared identities. Calling Israelis Sabra is also another humiliation inflicted to the people indigenous to the land, who themselves have used the prickly pear as a symbol of belonging for generations before their dispossession, and who are now left to use it as a symbol of their resistance and sustained existence in the face of genocide. In Palestine, they say sabr sabr, the patience of the cactus, to describe the resilience of the people living on the land not always kind. The people indigenous to Palestine saw their lives reflected in the thorny fruit of the cactus. Like them, it was resilient and durous. Like them, it thrived in a somewhat harsh environment. Like them, the plant extended generosity by using its resources towards creating a sweet fruit during the hottest month of July. In Palestine, the fruit of the cactus would be eaten communally, cut in slices by the men, and shared with all. Because before there was a Zionist project, there was a land farmed by families who would use the prickly pear as fences between their fields, the thorns of the cactus creating a natural barrier. Before there was a Zionist project, the Felachins grew wheat and barley and olive trees and grapes and figs. They developed farming techniques that required little to no irrigation, a necessity on a land that lacked water. Before there was a Zionist project, there was an Ottoman Empire and a British mandate. Before there was a Zionist project, some of the land belonged to absentee landlords. A lot more of it was duly owned by the families tending the land. Before there was a Zionist project, belonging to the land didn't always mean deeds and records and ownership, but it sometimes did. In Palestine, those who understood the land, those who were of the land, were its righteous owners as a collective, a community. 418 Palestinian villages were destroyed to make way for the Zionist project. I always typed each village name so that we could collectively remember them. I wanted to write their names, but I worried you wouldn't read them. I worried that their names alone wouldn't convey the scale of the annihilation. I worried that you would think I did it as a performance and not as a prayer for their return. 418 communities with people, houses, stores, and fields raised to make way for a new reality that wanted them erased. 418 communities raised also meaning death, expulsions, dispossession, and a life of survival in the refugee camps in Jordan and Syria and Lebanon. In each one of the villages, I imagine a circle and a man holding a knife and an oblong fruit, generously sharing sweetness with his neighbors. Sabra. The Zionist project spread the term before 1948 to help propagate the idea of Israel being built by farmers to make sense of the privately owned cooperatives and the collectively owned kibbutzim. Through their hard work, European Zionists transformed the empty land of Palestine into a great utopia, a lie that many, including my own people, still believe. In 1901, 3 years before his death, Theodor Herzl led the Fifth Zionist Congress at the Strut Casino in Basel, Switzerland, less than 24 miles from my home of Mulhouse, France. It's on that day that the Jewish National Fund was created for the purpose of buying Palestinian land towards a Zionist goal. In Hebrew, we know it as the Keren Kayemet, a biblical reference of the good deeds accomplished in buying land and planting trees that will result in bounty to be enjoyed in another life after the Messiah's return. All land bought by the Keren Kayemet L'Israel is to be the property of Jewish people for perpetuity, as if land could be owned and claimed instead of revered. All over the world, Jewish families like mine put their change in blue boxes for that specific cause of collectively buying property for Jewish people for perpetuity. all over the world, Jewish families like mine are being tricked into believing in the idea that the fund created beauty on empty Palestinian land by planting trees and creating great landscapes in a place where nothing grew. Today, the Keren Kayemet owns up to 13% of what used to be Palestine. Most of the forests, the plants, grow on the roots of 418 destroyed Palestinian villages. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Noam, and all of our readers who have appeared virtually. It means so much to us that we have contributors from all over the country and the world, and for some of them to be present at our events. And with Noam's wonderful reading, that concludes our issue launch. So thank you again for joining us. It is a joy and honor for us to publish and give a home to your queer and trans writing. We're just so proud to be doing this work. Don't forget to buy your own copy of this fantastic issue or to subscribe to the journal. And remember that our submissions close on May 1st, so there's still time for us to read your beautiful writing. And don't forget to complete those audience surveys before you leave us. Chad over here is waving them, so come say hello, grab the survey. And thank you again for supporting Foglifter and these writers, and have a